With me today is Alexandra Smith, Chief Human Resource Officer for the City of Memphis. Alex is here to talk to us about her department's decision to implement and deploy Oracle HCM Cloud along with Taleo functionality for application tracking. Beyond this, she has a super interesting and inspiring story to tell around not only HR transformation, but also organizational, or should I say business transformation in the public sector. Welcome, Alex.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. We're happy to have you. It's our pleasure. And by the way, congratulations for being recognized as a 2021 Changemaker by Leadership in Memphis.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're absolutely. You're welcome. We'll make sure to post a link to that when this finally goes live, because I think that's super great. And also welcome to the 360 Insights Global Executive Advisory Council. I saw your name on our press release that went out earlier this week, so welcome to that too.
Yes, I'm very excited to be a part of the council as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, we have lots of great vision for that group. You have a really interesting story, and just thinking about our conversation earlier today and where exactly to start, why don't we start at the beginning, if you will, the beginning of your journey at City of Memphis. How did that come to be? What was your charter? What was that all about?
Excellent. Well, you know, it's amazing. I've been in this role now 5 years, but it does seem like yesterday. So in January of 2016, I embarked on this adventure of being the first ever Chief HR Officer for the City of Memphis. Prior to 2016, the city government here in Memphis had a more traditional CAO model, or a Chief Administrative Officer / City Manager model, where all of the directors of the different departments reported into a CAO. And my counterpart, the previous person who had this role, was an HR director. When Mayor Strickland came into power as the mayor of Memphis, he decided to move into a different structure, a C-suite model, and changed the titling structure and the overall, if you will, overall governance process for how to look at city government by creating a C-suite with 6 chiefs, including my role as the Chief HR Officer for the City of Memphis. And so a part of my charter was to really imagine and create an understanding about what a Chief HR Officer could be for the city. One of the first things that he asked me to do is to really hone in and help the city in attracting and retaining talent, and particularly public safety talent for the City of Memphis. And so after doing a ton of research and interviewing and having town halls, focus groups, looking at data online, Glassdoor, looking at reviews, etc., I came down to an understanding of the core issues related to city government had to do with employee morale and really, needing to focus on how do we engage our employees. At the time, we had about 50% engagement rate, and it was important for us to pivot our focus. And so immediately that year, my focus moved into how to build an HR team that could help with driving an engaged workforce and culture change for the City of Memphis. And that's the journey we've been on for the last 5 years. And what's come along with that is a focus on automating our processes, on looking at data, being more focused around customer service, and the implementation of going to the cloud and the Oracle HCM system really was about helping to elevate our HR work and getting us out of the paper process and the manual processes, and help freeing up capacity so our HR teams could spend more time focused on the issues that matter the most, which are attracting and retaining talent for the City of Memphis, driving culture change, partnering with divisions to triage important talent-related issues, And so that has been very important for us in our success as an organization moving forward.
Yeah. There's so much good stuff there, and I want to get back to the automation part of it, but there's a piece of this. So you mentioned that you had 50% engagement, 50% positive engagement, I guess, or engagement of any kind previously, and you were looking to raise that. And I'm curious, was that citywide or just in the HR department, or was that citywide? All the entire workforce?
That was citywide. So we actually did an employee engagement survey and used that outside third party to conduct that. And when we looked across the organization citywide, we were at 50% engagement. And so that would essentially individuals who were engaged or somewhat engaged in their work, and the key components around that were, do I find value in my work? Do I enjoy what I'm doing? Do I feel that I'm being well compensated for the work that I'm doing? Do I feel that I have the tools and resources to do the work that I'm doing? Those are the underlying questions related to that overall engagement survey. So it gave us some important insight into how employees were feeling, which, as I mentioned before, when I started and did my own research, I saw that on Glassdoor we were at 2.5 rating. I already knew that we were in a very difficult situation. And so I am happy to say, last year in 2019, and even now we're at 3.5. So we've made tremendous progress in our improvement. So I can say that the strategies we put in place definitely have worked. But at that time, we knew that we were facing some serious morale challenges. And honestly, it was related to some true fiscal austerity measures that the city had to put in place due to some pension reform that was mandated by the state. And in having to make some drastic changes to both pension and benefits and promotions and pay, all of those things led to the morale issues that we were seeing. And so our goal, that first year was really about stabilizing the workforce and re-engaging them, and then building upon that year after that, and every year after that.
Now, what I understand was that the issue with just the administrative load for the HR department was just so heavy previously that it really restricted your team's ability to even focus on those issues. And of course, that's something we see that is a common tale, and it's a very compelling rationale to move to something better for your HR processes technology-wise. Can you talk a little bit about maybe some specifics around some things that you've been able to do to affect the culture of the organization, and also maybe some examples of your team, now that they have this newfound time to focus on higher level, more lasting impact activities on the organization?
Absolutely. So I would say my favorite example is related to recruiting. And so when I first started and we were attempting to measure our time to fill, it was very difficult. After implementing the cloud system, we were able to get a better sense for where we were. And at the time, we were at 120 days with our time to fill. And so that just the ability to measure gave us the understanding that we needed to be able to improve. And so from there, we set a goal of getting to less than 75 days. And we consistently have been able to do that after about, I would say, about 6 months of hard work with the team. And of course, we had Kaizen events and other things to be able to help streamline the process even more. But the ability to measure, the ability to look at our process, the ability to gather as a team to really focus in on how we can make improvements, that is the power of automation, if you will. That's the power of process improvement. It gives you that capacity to be able to reflect and then improve and then move from there.
your talent acquisition's day-to-day workflow, what was that like before the Taleo functionality was implemented? Was it really paper-based? Like what exactly was extending that time to hire to, I believe you said 120 days?
So, so first of all, when I first joined the organization, we actually didn't have a talent acquisition or even recruiting office. It was actually called employment. And the employment office had paper applications. And it also had some, and don't get me wrong, there was also some positions that were posted online. But there was not a comprehensive effort to ensure that all positions across city government were a part of our applicant tracking system and online processes. And so the team was really focused on processing employment applications at the core. My goal was to move it from an employment office to a true recruiting or talent acquisition office, and to focus on talent management, not just the process of employment. And so that required not only us bringing in and hiring recruiters, people who had true talent acquisition and recruiting experience, but also improving our processes and the technology. And so adding Taleo in, being able to have their input in terms of how the implementation should go and the workflow around that, thinking about the candidate engagement components in terms of how we want to leverage social media and other placements as a part of our applicant tracking and our overall posting process. And then being able to report out and have understanding about where the process is and how we're performing as an organization. Those are all the important things that we were able to do over the really 18 months of the implementation process, which was very important in terms of us being able to ultimately fulfill the mission of hiring quality talent for the city to be able to fulfill the mission that the citizens of Memphis expect of us.
See, you bring up a really good point there. That this is why this is really a business transformation story, or an organizational transformation story. It's not just a technology story, although that's a big part of it. But I just think about, imagine if your municipality or some other organization had made a decision to move to the cloud, but didn't really apply too much thought to workflow and optimizing that and changing it to be a more agile organization. I can't imagine that the results would be nearly as positive as what you've realized in Memphis. There a couple things that I want to get to here that are super interesting about your story. One is the decision to go with Oracle HCM in the cloud, one of those, and the other is some interesting, fun, very thoughtful changes you've made even to the sort of the office environment there that I just definitely want to capture here, because this is a leadership story as well, right, in terms of having an impact on organizational workplace culture.
Sure. So, I would say from a leadership standpoint, when I first joined the city of Memphis, I came in as the youngest chief to ever have this role, the youngest director, if you will, to ever have this role. And particularly me coming from private sector, and I would say high tech private sector as well. I have grown up in my work culture as a philosophy that it's important that the work environment be supportive, be comfortable, and really be professional, and reflect a positive environment so that the employees feel comfortable and can also serve customers in a positive way. And so the aesthetics and the cleanliness of the work environment matter. I think that that's very important. And so when I first came into the city, and I recall very fondly of seeing the bathroom uh, down the hall from my office, as well as, the drapes, the carpet, all of those things. It looked like they had not been updated in 50 years, and very old, very, and just very dated. And for me, that, this is a new day in city government. This is a new, more modern HR organization. Our work environment needs to reflect that. And so all I wanted to do, we had a little extra money in our budget, and all I wanted to do was to update the bathroom, and not necessarily, put gold fixtures in there to make it, super fancy, but just, have it a little bit more modern, put a mirror in there, be able to have more modern coloring, just to give it a little bit of a fresher look. We all spend, 8+ hours every day at work. Having a nice bathroom can help, especially for women. And HR is a majority female organization as well, so that, that's another component. And so when I asked my executive assistant to take on the project of updating the bathroom, we at first got some pushback from the organization about that. And the pushback was related to, hey, we typically don't update bathrooms. Are you sure you have money in your budget to do this? I'm like, no, yeah, we have a little extra money in our budget to do this. We can do this. We then hired, they said, well, we don't have the capacity to do this, so you can hire another contractor to do this work. We said, okay, we'll hire a firm. So we hired a firm to come in and do the work. The first time they did it, it didn't go great. There were some errors there. We had them come back, and they fixed those errors, and they redid some things, and it turned out fantastic. But what was fascinating about that was people could not believe that something was updated in City Hall. And so we found that there was this interesting rumor mill that had just sparked within City Hall about this new hotshot HR chief has updated the bathroom. And so I literally had directors and city councilmen come and look at this bathroom to see what I'd done. And I don't know what they were expecting. I think maybe they were expecting gold fixtures. And when they saw it was just updated. It sparked something in them. And then next thing I know, other directors were making, aesthetic changes. And the city council actually completely renovated their whole office area. And lo and behold, it's, bit by bit, each area started to really work on making these type of improvements. And the end result is employees are happier. They come to work and they're proud of the work environment that they're in. They feel respected in the fact that they're in a place that is comfortable, that is clean, and it's a good thing. And once again, this is not about being exorbitant or wasteful. It's about just having, a clean, comfortable place for people to work and be able to serve citizens. And so I'm glad I was able to spark a little bit of change with the bathroom.
Yeah, I mean, this is there's the aesthetic, feng shui, all of this, who would have known that it would have a positive effect on the work environment to have, sort of an updated, clean, pleasant architecture and fixtures and all of that. So I mean, that's a great story, and it's a leadership story, absolutely, and that's what I really want to make sure that we capture here today is the level of leadership that you brought to the organization, sort of the authenticity behind that, which I think is just fascinating. Let's talk about two more things before the half hour is up here. One would be the implementation of Oracle, the decision to go with Oracle Cloud, and then also I want to get to, there was a couple of issues, if we could get to one of them. It's around the pensions or around the retention issues in the police and fire departments. Either of those would be really great to capture here. They really sort of are illustrative of this transformation.
So I would say on the decision to go with Oracle, that was really a joint decision between our finance team, our finance leadership, our IT team, and our HR team. And there were a few important considerations. So, of course, cost being one of them. Secondly, functionality, because our finance team also uses the Oracle Hyperion product as well. And so, having that alignment was important. And then also having the human capital to be able to support the product as well from the IT side. So it's those three, kind of divisions coming together and making the decisions is kind of what led and sparked the choice to move forward with Oracle. In terms of the retirement and pension components, it's been fascinating learning more about public sector pension and retirement and healthcare. I would say that a few interesting things have been done since I've been in this role for the last 5 years. So one is when I came into this role in 2016, one of the big morale concerns was related to pre-65 healthcare and the city's previous decision to remove pre-65 healthcare subsidies. And so one of the things that I was able to put in place with my team was a private exchange concept, which allowed for us to provide a HRA subsidy to our retirees to give them a return to pre-65 retiree healthcare support. And so that was an important change we did in 2016 that helped us. On the pension side, one nuance that has been very interesting for us is that we have our solid waste group, our solid waste division, which is known worldwide because in 1968, Martin Luther King came to Memphis to be able to stand side by side with the solid waste workers or sanitation workers as a part of their strike to try to help them get recognized as being part of the AFSCME Association. And so that group has always had a special place in history and a special place here at the City of Memphis. But one of the interesting pieces with that group is that at that time they had selected to have a Social Security instead of the city's pension. And so one of the interesting things that I was able to put in place in working with our team as well is a 401A matching program in 2018. And that program, once again, innovation and looking at how we can do things differently, that program allowed us to be able to accelerate their retirement contributions so that they could have more parity with our overall pension program. And so, those are, two great examples of, where we've come in and, because we have more capacity, being able to understand the data, be able to put some things in place to really help move things forward for employees.
It's a great employee recognition story too, right there, in an employer culture component. I mean, that's just the whole ball of wax right there. We do have a couple minutes left, so maybe we can focus a little bit on the police and fire departments, because I know there have been some really helpful improvements there in terms of longevity of stay and this sort of thing.
Yeah, so with the police and fire departments, we've worked on having stronger partnerships with them, and particularly focus on recruiting and retention in both areas. Particularly with the police department, we've done a number of different things and worked very hard to help assist in driving better recruiting and retention. On the retention side, we were able to partner with our Shelby County Crime Commission to develop a retention bonus program where we had a 98% take rate with that, and that allowed for us to really stabilize the workforce, going from losing 160 officers in 2014 to only for the last 3 years really losing between 125 to 130, which that has been tremendous in terms of lessening the number of officers that are leaving and being able to stabilize the workforce. And then on the recruiting side, the work that we've been able to do with Taleo as well as just automating our processes overall. We've been able to hire over 700 officers in the last 5 years, which has been tremendous in helping us continue to work on building the workforce. We're not exactly where we want to be, but we have been making tremendous strides and being able to move in the right direction.
Yeah, a lot farther from where you were, which is fantastic. You know, this is a great story of technology helping to just alleviate the administrative load for HR and enabling, sort of unleashing HR to be that real people impacting force in the organization for positive engagement, all this kind of stuff, and leadership in terms of having that coming from the top to make that happen, and taking those real tangible steps that people notice and that have a ripple effect. It's just a fantastic story all around. Thanks for taking the time to speak with us about it. Just really fascinating. Thank you so much, Alex.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity to share our story. And I have to give a shout out to our City of Memphis HR team. We have 100 HR professionals that are committed and come to work every day focused on how to best support our city employees. And none of this work would be possible without our HR team.
Absolutely not, and they do a fantastic job. And we have a little bit more about this in a case study that we will have published on our website as well, which goes in a little bit more detail. Thank you so much, Alex.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye-bye.